Imagine getting up every day full of energy as if you were in your 20s again. What would that be like? What would it be worth to you? What is your health worth to you? Think about it. Your health isn't everything, but without it, everything else is nothing. And yet, too many of us are taking it for granted until something goes wrong. And no one wakes up hoping to be diagnosed with a disease or chronic illness. And yet, we've never been taught how to be proactive in our health through our school or public health. As a registered health coach and integrative health practitioner, I believe it's time this information is made available to everyone. Combining new knowledge around your health and the ability to do my functional medicine lab tests in the comfort of your own home will allow you to optimize your health for today and all your tomorrows. Don't wait for your wake-up call. Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Wait for Your Wake-Up Call podcast. This is a special Podapalooza episode, and I have a returning guest, Dinalynn Rosenbush, back for a new conversation. And if you want to check out our previous episode, it was episode number 92. Dinalynn is a consultant and parenting coach, speaker, 30-year public school speech language pathologist, international best-selling author, and creator-host of the top 1.5% podcast, The Language of Play. And Dinalynn helps parents understand how children communicate so they can connect more deeply with their children, even in the presence of speech delays. She empowers parents with strategies for building speech and language skills during normal daily activities, and so much more.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun to see you again.
You too. And I love the title that you mentioned today, and that is the fact that the opposite of play is not work. And I'd love to dive into a conversation around that.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you rewind back to the last episode, we talked about Lyme disease and my journey through late stage Lyme disease and being extremely sick. And then, the transition into doing the new thing and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, part of what made me sick is not playing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think about play, and I've spent a lot of years now thinking about play since all of that, I have my own definition of it. And I think of play as more like a mindset that I need to get into. Not just a doing. And, I teach parents. So, what the example I often give is Legos. Play is Legos, sure, but it's not isolated to that. It's so much more and so much deeply more. And so when I think about the mindset that would be behind play, I think of it as having a mindset of curiosity, exploration, discovery, enjoyment, fun, all of those things. And I think that, when we think back again to that episode we had last, the part of my issue is that I was working and working and working, and I had the attitude that I had to earn my play. And what I've learned since is it's a fundamental need. It is not something we have to earn. You have to give yourself a change of plan, a change of schedule, a change of thinking. The rest, the enjoyment is critical. So that's where I'm at with thinking about play. It is more right now a mindset that I want me to adopt. I want other people to adopt, because the other part of that is that you can't fail if you're playing. You're just trying new things. You're discovering, and that's not a failure system. So yeah, that's kind of the backstory of that title. The opposite of work isn't play.
I absolutely love it. And you're right. That is a massive mindset shift for many people.
It is. The rest of that quote, and I could look it up here while we're talking, but the quote comes from somebody else. I didn't coin it, but the rest of that quote was, the opposite of work is not, the opposite of play is not work. It is depression.
Mm.
And so you think about what happens inside of us when we don't allow ourselves to get into that fun, to have a reprieve that is joyful, to be able to think about things that are new for us. Yeah, you can see how the connection's there.
Absolutely. And yet society teaches us, kids play. And
Right.
play is for kids. And to your point, it's fundamental for children to play. It's how they learn.
Exactly.
They're trying new things. They're discovering, they're being curious. All of those beautiful words that you used. And somewhere along the way, even getting into high school, there isn't recess anymore.
Right.
However, we're still playing sports. We're still, maybe doing theater and other things where we're playing and we're in our imagination and we're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond that, we get a job, we have bills to pay, and
Mm-hmm.
suddenly we get serious and we
Yeah.
forget to
Yeah.
allow the fun into our life.
And play comes in different forms.
Absolutely.
And for our children, well, for all of us, free play is really, really good. But we seem to, somewhere around the age of 7, 8 years old, move our kids into this structured play as if
Yes.
that is the better play. But it
Right.
isn't. It's a different play, but it is not better play. They're both
Right.
needed. We need to do structured and free play. But I wish that we would have the more free, open, exploratory time considered to be essential in life. Here's something I just read yesterday, because I'm kind of a nerd on things. This is one of the areas I'm kind of a nerd.
Always learning. Love it.
Yeah, always learning,
That's
yes.
part of the curious.
It is. It is. I read about a research that, I don't know how long ago the research was. I was just kind of captivated by it. Maybe I should have paid more attention to the details. But this researcher was researching rats and how rats play. And he thought, so if play is connected to problem solving, which it is, then what happens if we take the outer cortex off the brain and see what happens to play? And so he did this in rats. He did brain surgery on these rats. The interesting component is that play never changed. And then he had these little monitors that he put. I wonder to myself, how in the world did he do this? Like, how small were those electrodes? He had these little, readers on the rats' heads. And he said that the center of the brain that lights up during play is actually in your survival centers.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how deep that is.
And
Now,
that
that's
doesn't
new knowledge
surprise
to me.
me.
Maybe others have known that, but I didn't know that. That's huge.
Well, it doesn't surprise me because when I look at the unconscious mind versus the conscious mind, the unconscious mind, its number one job is to keep us alive, to preserve the body, despite what we may do to it. The unconscious mind is the home of our imagination,
Ah,
which
okay.
is where play comes from, right? When we can tap into our imagination.
That makes total sense. Yeah. Imagination would be one of those words I would add to that list. And I think my list is about 30, 50, whatever it is, words long. Just like I keep changing it all the time, not even intentionally. I just kind of say different words. But yeah, imagination is so much part of it. And if we take away that time, so for example, in my life, it was you work and then you get to play.
Yes.
And when you have finished your work, you have earned the right to have free time.
Again, programming, right? Societal
Exactly.
programming
All
about
through.
what it's like to be an adult.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I remember that starting, about 12, because my first little part-time job was about 12, and I started babysitting more in addition to this other little job. And it was about that time that work was honored and play was considered a waste of time,
Mm-hmm.
unless it was purpose-filled, such as a sport that I'm part of.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to free play, where we get to be in our imagination.
Exactly.
And that unconscious mind is the 90% of our mind. And the conscious
Yeah.
mind is only the 10%.
Which
And
is,
societally, we've been taught to be in our conscious mind, our thinking mind, always thinking through everything,
mm,
getting stuck in our thoughts, versus tapping into our unconscious mind, which is so much more
yeah.
and has so much more access to resources for us, to solutions, etc. Like if you think about it, when you have a problem, when you're thinking really hard on the problem, does the solution come to you, or do you need to let it go and then it comes to you in the shower or while you're driving or in the middle of the night? That's what happens to me.
Oh, me too.
The answer comes from the unconscious mind. We got to get out of the conscious thinking mind in order to allow the answer to come through.
It marries very well with this idea that I'm saying about play.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I love that connection and that idea, and for more people to hear this message, to be able to embrace it in their lives, because as you said, it's a fundamental need. And I feel very fortunate because I choose to live in nature and I choose to go out and play, skiing on the ski hill, backcountry hiking with my kids, paddleboarding. The other day I went skiing all morning with my girlfriend and my niece, and then we went to après afterwards, which was at a band that we love, and we danced all night, or all afternoon. It was like 3:30 to 6:30. It was après, and it was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was just play and stand up on the benches and dance and, just have a good time.
Yeah, it's important for us to be able to do that. I still find it hard to break away, and I'm sure that is that programming. Because when I'm not thinking about it, I am working and I'll work and work and work and work until I'm like really tired and tense and agitated. And then I'm like, what'd you do for fun today? It's like I'm starting to ask myself.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
I
Great
realize,
awareness.
but I still don't do it every day. And I know better. I like totally know better because, that's really part of getting sick is working myself until I'm sick. And it's amazing how that, well, I don't know, what part of the brain is this programming in?
The programming is also deeply seated in the unconscious mind, and it's been there since you were in that 0 to 6 window. So even though you started working when you were 12, you learned that program from likely one of your parents who had that work ethic. And
Oh,
you
they
took
still
it
do.
on as your own. Yeah.
Yeah.
You took it on as your own, and it stays there until we rewire it, which we can do. And
Yes,
that's where we get into the tools of NLP, timeline therapy, hypnotherapy to rewire the programming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. However, having the awareness is a great starting point.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will put it in my calendar.
Yeah.
Yes. So that I have an actual alarm going off to tell me, stop. And then sometimes I'm like, I can't, I'm almost done. And it's like, settle down, Dinalynn, just go have fun. And sometimes that transition is hard. And then once I'm outside, then I'm fine too. I love going outside and
then the transition back is hard.
Exactly, because then I don't want to stop that.
That just starts teaching you that you can do hard things, and transitions and change becomes easier in your life as you practice it each and every day.
Yeah, it's deliberate though. Even though I know it well that this is important, it's very deliberate.
Yeah, and it has to be because you are overriding programming in order to get yourself to do this.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why change is hard for people, because we have to override programming that's been there since the beginning of time. When we're here's consciously. When we do it unconsciously and we rewire the program and we create a little bunny trail for a new program, and then we give you tasking that has you practice it, so it becomes a 2-lane road, a 4-lane road, and then it's an 8-lane highway. That's when, the alarm goes off. Yep, I'm out the door. And you can get there.
Looking forward to that ease. When you're saying that, I thought to myself, another thing that must be programming that I know is common to many that makes me crazy about myself is that, so I go upstairs and I'm going to go outside and I made the stop that I need to make. And then I stop at the pantry on the way out the door and I grab something I don't need. And I was on my way outside. How come my mouth is full? I didn't intend for that. It was like an automatic thing that I do again.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily that the food is bad for me. I just didn't need it then. That wasn't my mission. It wasn't what I was doing. I've gotten pretty good about leaving alone the junk and I don't buy the junk.
So in the house too, right?
Right. I don't have it in the house, at least not much of it.
But little junk, because the little junk is fun, right?
Right.
It's
Right.
The 80-20 rule. You can't be, eat so perfectly that there's no joy in food anymore, right?
Right.
And there's plenty of healthy meals that we can make, and they can be joyful, and we can still celebrate and have other meals that, the little treat, because that's part of the play.
Yeah.
We have to allow in those fun moments. We have to allow in some flexibility into our lives, because when we live that really rigid life of do and do it all perfectly, etc., that's when we do run into health issues, because that's so much pressure, so much stress on our system.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we got to trust our bodies to be able to detox, trust our
Absolutely.
bodies to be able to help us through and do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, and sometimes our bodies need a little help. And as you know, I work with
Yeah.
people to help them detox because we can get overloaded, right?
Right. Well,
And the
that's what I
body
mean.
can heal itself, knowing that it
Yes.
can, and we need to just give it the support that it needs in the world that we live in now.
Yeah, I was thinking really specifically for me going to the pantry when I said that because because I think myself to have a quite a good diet.
Hmm.
And so then when I have some junk now and again, I think I have to just trust my body to take care of it. Because
Yeah,
after having late
absolutely.
stage Lyme disease,
Right.
I'm
You're careful.
careful and I know how to use my herbs really well and I
Yeah.
make good meals all the time. I don't
Right.
eat meals that aren't good. Like I just
Yeah.
don't. I don't cook meals that aren't going to be yummy. you
Right.
know.
Exactly. And that's part of
But
the 80/20 rule,
yeah, yeah.
that your
That
body
makes sense.
can detox and get rid of the junk when you're only giving it junk 20% of the time.
Ah,
When you're
okay.
doing it the other way around, and it's 80% of the time you're eating junk and 20% of the time you're having good meals, that's when it's overload for the body.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I love this conversation and this mindset shift, and even just other Podopalooza, the podcasts I've recorded today, talking about people that are working too hard.
Yeah.
Society, that's another program, right? In
Yeah.
society, not just from your parents. We have to
Hmm.
work harder, we have to do more, et cetera, et cetera. And it's
Hmm.
causing so many health issues down the line. And
Yeah.
when we bring in play with your beautiful definition of play, and we
Thank
make
you.
time for it, we can
Hmm.
shift that, and we don't have to end up with some diagnosis down the road.
Hmm.
And you've been able to heal from yours as a result of making the lifestyle adjustments and bringing play into your life.
Yeah. Interestingly, meditation is now part of play for me.
Nice.
When I started meditating, in the Lyme disease
Mm-hmm.
recovery journey,
Mm-hmm.
I, I started meditating with so much work. It was so hard. I couldn't get my brain to settle in. I couldn't thought, what am I doing? And then, but now I look forward to it so much. And then I think you might remember about maybe 2 years ago this month, in fact, almost to the date, I fell and I broke my kneecap, shattered it,
Mm-hmm.
falling on cement, on a corner of cement on ice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was surgery, and then, it was really tricky. And then it was surgery to get the hardware back out again, put it back together, it was tricky. And I went through this deep meditation to try to be able to heal that
Mm-hmm.
and use some of these techniques that I'm sure that you teach, to be able to focus the energy right into that joint, to be able to get it to work again. And it was amazing. It was really quite amazing how that happened.
And
So,
isn't it beautiful, the power
yeah,
of our body to heal and the
yeah,
power of our mind to create what we focus on?
yeah. So amazing. I keep thinking too, I can do that, I think, in my body now. So, which is great.
Yes.
I want to do it in other areas of my life too. And
And
it's
that's the power
kind
of it.
of, yeah, I know it's there. I see
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm. And we can. And I love to say you get what you focus on. So what are you focusing on? Because somebody else coming out of that
Yeah.
surgery, guess what they might have been focusing on?
The stiffness
Or the pain,
or the
right?
pain. Hmm.
They get more pain. They get more stiffness. They're not
Yeah.
healing. And you are. And the
Yeah.
difference is that you innately knew that you could focus on your healing.
Yeah.
And other
And,
people don't know that.
if there was a big benefit of having had Lyme, that would be it. It's like when I have, well, here, the other day, I was playing with my grandson and I was bent over to pick him up and he jumped up.
Oh,
And so his head smashed me in the face.
I've had that
And,
happen. Yeah.
oh, and I thought to myself, okay, no, and I don't know if you can tell my glasses are actually bent right now when I'm here and I keep shifting them because I haven't had time to, I need to wear the glasses in order to see to adjust the glasses. So I need to go
Right.
to somebody else to adjust the glasses. So they're a little bit wobbly today. And this idea that like right where the center of the glasses are was
Bridge of
so
your nose.
painful. The bridge of
Yeah.
my nose was so painful
Yeah.
that I thought, how am I going to be here today? I'm going to be crying all day. My face is going to be big and swollen and stuff. And so I just did this meditative thing too.
Mm.
And I just kept on imagining, okay, it drains. The pain is gone. Everything is fine. Like all of that. Now, talking about it right now, I'm getting watery eyes thinking about it. Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
But otherwise, I haven't thought about it yet today until this moment when I talk to you.
Yeah. And again,
Except for shifting my glasses because
glasses.
they're never in the right
You're
focal
noticing them
point
falling down.
and they're falling down. Yeah.
Well, I love this conversation because I just love sharing and putting out there into the world for people to understand the power of our mind, the power of our thoughts. And when we put our thoughts, that's what we get more of. So what
Yeah.
are you thinking about? What are you choosing to ruminate on? Because if that thought isn't serving you, you can let it go and pull in a thought that does serve you and focus on that. And while you're at it, bring in some play and have
Yeah.
some fun with it.
Yes, absolutely. Get outside, breathe some fresh air, move your body, make sure you laugh, try something new.
Exactly. All of
So
that
many
is
things. All of it,
fundamental
yes.
to our living our best lives and truly thriving and not bringing dis-ease into our body. So thank you so much, Dinalynn. I love having you on the show. I'm going to ask you again because it might have changed since episode 92. What does don't wait for your wake up call mean to you?
For me, it means act sooner. Kind of like I just talked about with you. Like, I know that this is true, so I'm putting an alarm in my phone because I don't want to be sick again.
Mm-hmm.
So I am trying to stay ahead of my natural tendency to not do what I want to do, which is so crazy when you think about it like that. But it's true.
It is.
It is. And so don't wait for my wake up call is like, I'm not waiting. I had a wake up call and now I realize that it's coming if I don't take care of it now. Somebody said, either, maybe you said this, either you will listen to your body's request for, oh, I don't know if I could come up with a quote. Either you'll listen to, oh,
I always like to say, listen when your body whispers so it doesn't have to yell at you.
it's essentially that, what I'm trying to come up with. I'm sorry, I can't think of the
That's
phrase right now. But it was essentially that. It's like either you're going to listen when your body talks nicely, or you will be listening because your body forces you to
Yes.
listen when it's not talking nicely. But it wasn't that. It was some quote like that.
Yes. The body always gets what it wants. So if you don't listen, it will take what it wants. And that's when you land in bed because your body desperately needed rest.
Yeah, that was exactly it. My body did desperately need rest.
Yes.
Before we go, I want to mention that you had been on my podcast as well. And
Yes.
you taught families how food impacts child's behavior and with learning and sensitivities and all of that. And so episodes 65 and 66 on the language of play is where listeners can get more of you because you did such a beautiful job to explain that to parents.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It was great to do that podcast swap and wonderful to have you here again. And is there any last words of wisdom that you would like to share with the audience before we wrap this episode?
Trust yourself. When your body is asking and you have that whisper in your mind that it's time to stop, listen. When it's time to break away, listen. Even if that breakaway is for 5 minutes, get up and move. Move your body. Trust yourself, especially when the thinking doesn't come from your head, it comes more from lower in your body. And you think, where'd that come from? Listen, trust it.
Exactly. Your intuition will not lead you astray. Thank you so much for being here. Your contact information will be in the show notes if anybody wants to reach out to you and learn more about what you do in your work. Appreciate you sharing your wisdom, your story of healing, and how you're doing now. And thank you to my audience for tuning in each and every week and learning and focusing on your health It is your greatest wealth.
Thank you.
Are you ready to uplevel the power of your own mind? Because if you are, you will want to join us at the Amplify Your Mind Masterclass. It is a 2-day program where transformation meets action. You will discover how your unconscious mind shapes your thoughts, your actions, and your success. And you'll learn the 3 principles and how thoughts and mind and consciousness are impacting your entire life. We take you through 2 different hypnotic inductions for an incredibly relaxing experience, one on each day. And past students have said they learned more in these 2 days than they did in a 6-month life coaching course. So if you want to uplevel your mind and do it with extreme efficiency, join us. No fluff, no guesswork, just real results. I will put the link in the show notes, and I'm gifting to my audience a massive promo code for our April class on April 15th and 16th. Using the code GIFT47, you will receive this class for literally that price, $47, for 2 days of personal growth, empowerment, and transformation. See you there.